Filling your game with extra content might give you something to put on the back of the box, but if it isn't worth your time, there's no reason for its existence. You know gamers don't like wasting their time. And yet you watch me. The movement towards more complex writing in video games is one that is gathering momentum with every new release. Despite this, there's an increased focus on giving the player extra content to fill time with once the main storyline is finished. The idea that the main quest might give you 5 or 6 hours, but the side quests give you dozens more. Apart from filling space, side quests also act as a kind of wild card. You can have a story that deals with all sorts of complicated themes, but step away from the main quest and into the back alley of side quests, and you can get up to all sorts of crazy shit that sometimes completely overshadows the main game. And yeah, this content has to be optional to be considered a side quest. Otherwise, you don't get that warm feeling that not everyone experienced this optional content. Anything in pursuit of feeling special. The story in Xenoblade Chronicles is long enough with plenty of moments where the focus shifts to a new objective for there to be enough opportunities for side quests to pick up the baton when you need a break. And man, I know Xenoblade Chronicles is an RPG where it's a smart idea to pay attention to the world around you, since you'll be getting all sorts of nifty rewards for completing side quests, but fuck me! That's a lot of shit to do. For now, I'm gonna get started on fighting the drug-dealing Nopon. Generally speaking, Xenoblade Chronicles deals with some reasonably serious themes. I can't really mention too many of them without spoiling the game, but the comic relief in the game is there to be just that, relief, not a lot more than that. Which is why when you have the opportunity to take down a Nopon drug dealer by the name of Banner, it's quite a treat. You spend the best part of an earlier side quest investigating the red pollen orbs that are potent enough to boost the user's strength. They're so popular among the Nopon people that a black market starts to sell them off away from Frontier Village, with Kingpin Banner pocketing the profit. Long story short, you confront him about it, things get weirdly dramatic, and you're presented a fight with Frenzied Banner at the end of the side quest, Banner the Betrayer. Apart from the fact that a fight against a Nopon is as goofy as it sounds, it's worth pointing out that A, the same music plays throughout that graces some of the most dramatic moments in the game proper, B, that Frenzied Banner is only 4 levels below the final boss, and C, look how much cash and experience you get from doing this. Pollen smuggling clearly makes bank. The existence of side quests in your video game can pick up the slack left by the main storyline. It doesn't matter so much if what the game is asking you to do as part of the main quest isn't all that exciting, you can instead indulge yourself in the vast array of amazing side quests that give the world some much needed colour. Poking dragons with swords isn't so bad, but there were parts of Skyrim that felt a little lackluster. Thankfully, this game has plenty of factions to join up with. If a little kid is so desperate to kill his headmistress that he'll summon the Dark Brotherhood, a league of highly trained assassins, to do it for him, the least I could do as the hero of this quest would be to get it done for him. There's lots of great guild side quests in Skyrim, but the nature of carrying out the Dark Brotherhood's dirty work just feels that little more like you're part of the bigger picture. Maybe because you're not just stealing things like the Thieves Guild. There's Dark Brotherhood quests where you have to kill some pretty important figures. They of course don't always go well since we need some jeopardy behind it all, but that one quest where you need to infiltrate a docked ship and work your way over to kill the reigning Emperor of Tamriel, shades of Dishonored about this. I don't know, I guess I really like stealth games where you can take everyone out from the shadows and leave without a trace. Or you can start that Emperor assassination quest on the top of a dragon. Whichever way suits you. Despite the simplistic nature of their work, the Dark Brotherhood seeks solace in the Night Mother, the bride of the deity that the Dark Brotherhood worship. And as part of the questline, you have to eavesdrop on someone from inside the Night Mother's coffin. How to scare someone away from your cult in one easy step. Keeping conclusions ambiguous leads to all sorts of fan theories and explanations for something that never gave any kind of closure. You drench something in symbolism and never outright state its purpose, setting up the opportunity to think about it a lot and deduce a clarification that may or may not be true. Red Dead Redemption has its own mysterious moments, but none as vague as the strange man who knows way more about John Marston than anyone should. People have died in this game for less. It may seem like ambiguity for ambiguity's sake, but there's some eerie calmness about this whole set of quests. You're sent off to do tasks that are specifically designed to test the player's morality and blend the line between the actions of John Marston, in this open world game with almost limitless possibilities, and what the player thinks they can get away with. You get the option of influencing a drunk man to stick with his wife or cheat on her, and you can either donate to a nun or rob her. What you choose won't affect the final outcome of the side quest, but it gets you thinking more about the wider picture of Red Dead Redemption and how your choices don't change the end result. The final part of the questline sees Marston losing his temper with the strange man and shooting him, only for the bullets to have no effect on him. Is he a spirit or some manifestation of death? Maybe he's just an abstract representation of morality. Who knows, but that's half the fun. Even with the size and the scope of the game, Zelda games haven't always hit the dizzying heights of having great side quests in them. Some of the more complicated ones in the series simply ask you to trade items with NPCs. But the law of averages dictates that you'll get it right in at least one game. Majora's Mask was as much about the people of Termina as it was about saving said people from the smiling chunk of rock. Few towns in any game have been fleshed out as far as Clocktown, where during the 3 days you can keep an eye on how a number of NPCs spend their 72 hours and how they cope with the impending apocalypse. In fact, this optional stuff is so important that Majora's Mask gives you a special book early on to keep a track of this stuff. Just as well, because if you didn't have the Bomber's Notebook, getting to the end of the Anju and Cafe side quest would have been damn tricky. The side quests are a great opportunity to abandon the main themes of your game at no cost, but in the case of this one, you get a concentrated showcase of exactly what Majora's Mask is all about. You can't really escape the hefty trade sequence, but you've got plenty of time to work out what you need to do in order to reunite the engaged couple. Sure, there's lots of waiting around at times, but in some places this adds an awful lot of drama to the situation. Waiting for Cafe to show up outside Sakon's hideout, or worse still, praying that he shows up at the end with mere hours left until the moon crashes, it's some intense stuff. When I first went after this quest, you start to genuinely doubt if Cafe is going to show up at the end. I know Andrew is confident, but you're cutting it mighty fine there. Maybe it'd be more Shakespearean if he didn't make it, but then we wouldn't get our happy ending and the added responsibility to save the world. And also a mask that gets people to shut the fuck up. You've got a lot of power in this game. I think we sometimes lose track of what the Fallout games are all about. Sure, you can get some enjoyment about wandering the deserted plains of a post-apocalyptic world embroiled in a tug-of-war between various groups claiming that they can put things right, and far be it from me to tell you how you should enjoy these games, but I always like the optimism about it all. Not to get too philosophical, but even in the wake of total nuclear destruction, humanity finds a way to survive. Would be nice if the world was a little less dusty, but, you know, take the world as it is for now, work on the plants in your own time. Or maybe you can stumble across a whole settlement full of them. Oasis in Fallout 3 is where optimism has some actual payout. You can wander the capital wasteland for hours and struggle to find somewhere as aesthetically pleasing as this place. The people that live here are split into two camps. Some who want this thriving tropical haven to spread beyond Oasis and to revitalise the wasteland, while others want to keep it all to themselves. Begs the question of why exactly this small patch of land has flourished so well. Oh, you know, a reoccurring character whose mutation has left him rooted to the ground and wishing for death. The usual. His name is Harold, and he didn't always look like this. He's been infected with a virus since the first Fallout game pre-Bethesda, and as the virus developed, a tree grew on his head and eventually left him stranded in the capital wasteland with flora growing around him. So now he's worshipped as a god by the residents of Oasis, but he wants the sweet release of death. Despite how quirky this side quest seems from the outset, you're required to make some pretty impactful decisions here that turn a peaceful utopia into a morally questionable three-way battle that won't be able to please everybody. Combining a beloved character from the first two games in a setting made possible by the third, it showed that the Fallout series was in the right hands. This being RabbidLuigi, and you would think that killing Harold is the best option since it's what he wants, but keep him alive long enough to tell him that what he's doing is making a lot of people happy and he'll get a new lease on life. It's certainly better than burning the guy. It's probably some kind of environmental message, but he's probably the only tree ever where hugging might actually help him. Got a topic that you'd like me to discuss in a countdown? Leave a suggestion in a comment below and head over to my Twitter, where I'll be holding a vote to decide the subject of the next countdown based off the best of your submissions. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that. I don't like to dwell too much on previous countdowns, I prefer to look to the future, hence why I can make them weekly. Later in the year I'd like to do a special month thing about Pokemon, and I was just wondering if you guys had any ideas for countdown topics. Got a few myself, but I like pooling together a bunch of ideas and seeing what sticks. Some suggestions are stickier than others. I'm sure you've worked that out by now. So yeah, let me know, leave a comment, do your business, make sure you clean up afterwards.